Hi, I'm Brita, the Questioning Quilter, and this is my second annual Christmas in July quilt called Ribbons and Wreaths, and it's the winning design from the 3 choices that I gave you in the May video. Now, it all starts with this adorable little angel block. And as always, stick around to the end because I'm going to show you how this looks with different fabrics, and I'm going to show you how to make this really cool variation. So let's start by making the initial block. Like so many of my disappearing designs, this starts with 4 half-square triangles that have been trimmed down to 4 3/8 by 4 3/8. Notice 2 of them are red and white, and 2 of them are green and white. To start off, we're going to take the 2 red and white half-square triangles, put them diagonal here. The seam will make a straight line. We're going to point each of the red corners is down and to the left. So the green half-square triangles are also going to be put on the diagonal. Here's the straight line, and the green corner is down and to the right. Now, I call this an angel block because it reminds me of the snow angels that I used to make as a kid. Here's her wings, and here's her beautiful skirt. Now, to make it a little easier when you're sewing it together, if you rotate this 90 degrees and then fold these over, if you notice, these seams are going to nest perfectly. So that's what I like to do. You're going to sew straight down here, and you will end up with this halfway done. So you have the 2 rows. You can rotate it back so you can still see the snow angel here. Put these together, sew along that seam, and here we have our beautiful angel block, which will measure 8 1/4 inches by 8 1/4 inches. As with all disappearing quilts, this one starts with the crazy idea of cutting up a perfectly good block. So in this case, we are cutting 1 3/8 inches from the center seam. We're going to make 4 cuts, rotating the block 90 degrees after each cut. So we'll have 4 of these. Now, when I was looking for a design for this year's Christmas in July, I wanted to do something totally new and never seen before. So I had the idea that if this angel block is hardly ever used, I wasn't able to find it in any of my books, then certainly nobody has tried disappearing this block. So this will be the first time in history that this quilt has been made. So once we make our final cut, notice we now have 9 sub blocks, which will then be rearranged into a new block. So the first thing that you'll notice is we've got a bunch of different blocks. So we have 2 red and white half square triangles, 2 green and white half square triangles, this cutesy little miniature angel, and then 3 of these bar blocks, green and white, and red and green, and then a white square. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use these red and white half square triangles. I'm going to take the first one, we're going to turn it around so that the red is to the upper right, okay? The second one, the red is going to be to the lower left. And this makes this kind of slanty diamond or parallelogram, whatever you want to call it. So the next block we are going to put in is this green half square triangle. It's going to be mirror image of this one. So the green is down and to the right. This was down and to the left. Notice this V at the top. If you have that, you know it's arranged correctly. The second green and white half square triangle is going to be directly underneath, oriented the same way, and it looks a little bit like the left half of a Christmas tree. Now, if we stick with that notion, every Christmas tree needs a trunk. So we're going to take the red and green bar block and arrange it so the green makes the trunk of the Christmas tree, and you've got the red to the left. Now, in the center, we are going to put this white square, and we are going to make it so that the seam is to the left. You know, if you turned it around, the seam would be to the right. Here it is to the left, because directly underneath it, we are going to put the green and white bar block with the green to the right. So you see that's pressed one way, so your seams are pressed opposite directions. Now, these are arranged together, so it makes kind of a sandwich. So it's kind of a green and red Oreo sandwich cookie with the red in the middle. Now, this red and white bar block is exactly where it started from. It stays the same. It's horizontal. The red is to the top, the white is to the bottom. And our sweet little miniature angel is here in the bottom corner, just looking over everything. Now, when we sew them all together, it looks like this. Now, I know this block doesn't really look like much, but wait till you see what happens when we take it to the design wall. Once all the blocks are sewn, that's when the fun begins. We're going to arrange these blocks so that this red kind of slanty diamond is pointed to the middle. So we put the first block in place, and this is going to be the center. We're going to rotate the 4 blocks around this center point, and this will create a motif. So 1, 2, 3, just rotate it each time. And we have now turned these 4 blocks into a motif where these bits of ribbon now form this beautiful bow. Once the motifs are made, making the quilt couldn't possibly be any easier. These motifs are the same, however you rotate them, so you can't put them together wrong. This green and red is always going to be in the center. And once you put 4 motifs together, look what happens. You get this adorable red and green wreath in the center. And when we put all of the motifs together, the quilt will look like this. I really love how this came out. I love these ribbons, and I love these cute little compact wreaths in the middle. Now, before I show you this with other colors, I want to give you a little background and tell you how I ended up with these particular fabrics on this quilt. So I did what a lot of you might do. I said, Christmas quilt, hooray! And I made a run to my local quilt store. Shout out to Steve Soenvac in King of Prussia. And the first thing I saw when I came in was this beautiful poinsettia fabric with the matching green with the red cardinals. Love it. But I know that larger prints don't always work with disappearing blocks. So to cover all bases, I also bought some of this green and red fabric that was less busy. The red fabric has this gold on it, and I'm a sucker for anything shiny. So I brought my stuff home and I decided to give it a try. Now, whenever I have a new pattern, I always make sample blocks. I then take a picture of these, bring it into the computer, and put them all together to kind of get an idea what the quilt might look like when it's completed. This has saved me some headaches in the past. So here is the sample block made with the poinsettia fabric. And here is the sample block made with the less busy fabric. So I brought those in. This is what the quilt would have looked like if it were made with the poinsettia fabric. Just didn't really do it for me. And here's the quilt made with the less busy fabric. And while it's better, it still seemed to lack a little oomph. I thought we could do better. So I played around, and I realized that even though there's a lot of contrast in the color here, these are very close to the same value. And what I needed was for some contrast in this value. So I could have either gotten a darker green or a lighter red. And I like this green, did some searching in my closet, and I found this lighter red fabric. And that's what I used for the final quilt. So let me know what you think, if you think this looks better or you liked one of the other designs better. I love hearing all of your comments. I read every single one of them. And in May, when I showed you the choices here, Judy H. told me that she likes this design, but she doesn't think it looks Christmassy. Well, fair enough. Everybody has the things that they like. So I wanted to show this with different colors. Now, for all of my Quilts of Valor people, you know I love you. Here's what it looks like in red, white, and blue. And I've had people comment that they don't like seeing just red, white, and blue. So here's the same design in blue and gold. And because I love a scrap quilt, here it is made with scrappy fabrics. Now, when I started with this block, I thought there was really only one good layout, and that was this 2x2 motif. But one evening, when I should have been doing other things, I got to thinking, what if we took this block and we took this corner, the one that looks like a little red and green Oreo cookie, and we put this red and green Oreo cookie to the center, and we're going to make another loop all the way around. So we're going to line this up so that the Oreo is to the center. And notice this red line matches, this red line matches. Now the next one, we're also going to put it towards the center. It's perpendicular to this first Oreo because that's how they kind of rotate going around. So now we're going to move to the top. And again, see how this Oreo lines up with these two lines. We're going to put the next Oreo also to the center here. So we're just going around in a circle, left, top, right. And on the right-hand side, the Oreo is going to go to the left. And again, we can see these line up, so we're doing it the right way. Turn here. So this is going up, and you're starting to see a larger wreath forming here. We're going to put this block here in the bottom, and now this one. So now you can see the wreath going all the way around, and all we have left is these four corners. Now, for the corners, we're going to take this Oreo and put it to the outside, because when we put the motifs together, this will make another pattern. So we're just going to take these four, go around here, and if you think about it, what we've created is we have created a motif that is now 4x4 instead of 2x2, because, well, this is all I need, his 4x4 motifs, more design options to keep me awake at night. And once we get these motifs made, if we made 4 of these motifs and put them together, we'd get a quilt that looks like this. And here you can see those little Oreos that I put in the corner now make a cute little wreath in the center. And there's just so many things to think about. But if I don't stop now, this video is not going to be made before the end of the month. So everyone, stay well and happy quilting.